you feeling heavy? Do you have a weight on your back that's too hard to carry? Renders you still in your tracks. Well, tell me, are you hurting? Do you have a burden like a chain on your neck? Well, let me tell you something. You don't have to live like that.
Well, good evening, everybody. How are you guys tonight? Oh, that's not, what's not showing? Something's not showing. Hello, background. Get there. There we go. There's the background. Whew. Oh, I have to remember to take that off for something else. So how is everybody? Yay. It's good to see you guys. Thanks for being here. Sorry, I was a touch coming in a minute late there. I them and playing with them and looked up and went, oh, crap. Things got away from me. I spent some time out in Studio G this afternoon. But my computer cord, I forgot to pause Backblaze. There. Okay, I paused Backblaze now. There. And it is good. Yes. There. Whew. I thought I had it paused. Oh, I had it running earlier. What's this? Quit Zoom work. Why some things are open that are not supposed to be open? That's open. Okay, everything that's open should be. Backblaze is paused. That was what was causing my computer to glitch out because it takes so much resources to back up my stuff. So, oh, there is my crafty adventures. Hi, Layla. Hi, honey. How are you? Oh my gosh, what a troop of people tonight. Linda's here and Susan is here and Larry, I believe, is here. Yes, Larry. And let's see, I'm here. Then comes Layla. Layla, I'm glad you're better. Yay, I hear you're coming up here pretty soon. Woo! And my crafty adventures is here. Yay. How are you doing, girlfriend? Layla, by the way, is my granddaughter. For those of you who don't know, my crafty adventures is a friend from Creator Camp. And all's good. Okay. Am I the only one where it sounds like Gretchen has hiccups? Do I sound like I have hiccups? Oh, hang on. There we go. Maybe. I had, mine was 2. Okay, so Susan, I forgot to turn off Backblaze at the beginning, so it was causing you guys to glitch. It should be fine. So that's fine. Hi, Fatima. Fatima's here, Travel Dreamer 46. Yay. Glad to have all of you guys here tonight. We've got show and tell, and I've got 2 stories. One is on my desk, which I was getting the camera straight, and the other one is on Libby. And both of them are nonfiction, really kind of cool books. But if you saw the opening, it's called Secret Stitches, and had a little video I put together just about quilters and sewing and that kind of stuff. And both of those things are what they come with. She thought she was stroking out. Funny. I'm sorry I did that. I didn't put the big sign up that said kill Backblaze before you go live, you know. Hi to Tam, Gretchen. Oh, did Tamara here? Tamara's here. Yes. Tamara's here too. She sent some wonderful things. So anyway, I have stuff to show. And so I'm going to get to that because we have a great night for show and tell. Whoa, that's not supposed to be there. All right, and that's not supposed to be there. Hang on, that's why I had that turned off because it kept coming up in Susan's. I had this set. All right, here we go. So Susan just sent me, she said she started a new series. I'm calling it Blooming Trees. Bloomin' Trees. Best Bloomin' Trees. Best said with a British accent. Well, you guys can say that in your head. Sample of one unresigned yet. 2 views. I have no idea why I'm back doing smalls 4x4 ceramic tile. The last picture. And then the last picture she'll show as, I'll bring this back up, but I want to show these 2 first. These are the ones she's doing on small tiles. Susan, these are glorious. Just absolutely gorgeous. And I like that you sent different perspectives of them so we can see the texture and see the shine and everything and how it goes. It's just, fluid art, I was going to say they're so fluid, but of course. But they just have so much movement to them, and the color combination is just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Let's see, I'm checking anything. I think it's cute. So, oh, yeah. Bob, that's amazing. Love the color. Yes, yes. Yeah, as Layla says, wow. Love the color. Very cool. Let me put this on here, there. So, make these a little smaller. So yeah, the color combination is really pretty. This is the colors in my living room. It's just, I love that, and it's very, very, very gorgeous. I love them. Okay, then she has, let's see, get rid of this one and this one. Oops, that's not that. Okay, close that one, and then she'll have this one and this one off, and then we come with this one. This is the new one where she says she showed before the hybrid of the hummingbird and the phoenix. Here he is, all re-signed and reframed. Let me get the text out of there. And I think, did you do? Yeah, just one picture of this. This is absolutely stunning. It does look so much like a hummingbird. So cool. I love this. Oh, it's just amazing. To get that hummingbird like that. And this is on a 4x4 ceramic tile, right? I love it. Colors in this are gorgeous too. Yeah. Wow. Absolutely. Wow. I love these. Fabulous work. Lovely. Yeah, I think that's the sentiment that we all have. Or this. Tamara says, oh, wow, wow, wow. Love these, Susan. Yes. Yay. Exactly. Good job, Susan. Let's woo. Okay, so next we have Tamara. Now, Tamara sent, first off, she said the baby photo she sent first is Akur, Akak's oldest sister's first baby. Akura has been in the hospital since December 6th when she was born. She's having an endoscopy tomorrow because she can't keep her food down. Apparently, she's vomiting everything she throws up. Akura is so cute, and she smiles a lot when her mother talks to her. Isn't she darling? Oh, my gosh. What is this? Grand godchild? Would it be? Or let's see. You're a grand god niece? Something like that could be. Too cute, though. Too cute. Anyway, so then she has some pictures that she sent in, and a lot of these pieces, as Tamara says, are ones that we've seen before, but I think she's finished them and done a little more to them, and I asked for people to even send in some old things, and Tamara's work is always so inspiring that, especially for folks that are new to like my crafty adventures, I don't think you've seen her things, so it is just amazing. So one of this one, and then we go to here. Oh, she's got these 3. So, Tamara, tell me what the letters are across the one to the far left. Oh, look at the face that is almost like the sun in the sun. It's like a coming down. Oh gosh, that's gorgeous. That one has to be one of my favorite I've ever seen. I love that. Really, really like that one. Oh my goodness. And then the center one is so much like, yeah, is that a watermark that goes across those? Tell me that that's a watermark, I think. It's fun taking paint away. What size tiles? 4x4. Butterfly, so beautiful. Yay, Layla saw. Yes, Susan does need to share more often. Absolutely stunning. All thumbs. Okay. Here you go. She's so cute. Adorable. Oh, Randall's here. Hi, Randall. Yay, good to have you here. Thanks. And a hugger. Poor girl. Tamara, thanks. Never tired. Yeah, her geisha is amazing. But I want to know that one in the middle. It just reminds me so much of reflection. But is that a watermark that you have across them? Oh, but the right one is still my favorite. The right one is still your favorite, Susan? Yeah, that one. Oh, that is a wonderful series. Is that your watermark? The blue steals my hair. The blue one does. It's like, it reminds me so much of rain up here on the windows, like especially up here in the Northwest. If it has been cold, really cold, and it's like half snow, sleet, but the sun starts to come out, you get these colors like this. It's absolutely, it's your full name in full script writing. Oh, I get it. It's a cool, good job. Hey, Yolanda, hi, how are you? Good job last night on calling your game, girl. Yay. Congratulations, by the way. That Ravens Talk with Yolanda. That's my friend Yolanda. She does a game, a channel where she does live calling of the Ravens game. She's a Ravens fanatic. She's also in my gold group with me, with Doc. And yay, Caroline's here. Yes, she is. And these are great. Oh, it's a drip painting, that middle one. Oh my gosh. Tamara, these are making, okay. I got to go to the next one. These are two more of hers. I don't remember seeing these before, Tamara. That crossover to the bird. How did you get it to look so fur-like and feather-like at the same time? Tamara, this is just incredible. And then the dimensional aspect of the one on the right. Is that like yarn or something? What did you use to do the raised part of the figure? Yes. Layla, that's my girl. My granddaughter says it all. Those are magical. Why did that get so giant? Yes. Magical is right, Layla. Yolanda, Layla is my granddaughter. She's 12. She's in Phoenix, but she's coming up here pretty soon. Yay. Tamara is magic. That's right. Tamara is magic. Collage plastic? Wow. What a way to use plastic. That's incredible. That plastic wrapping paper. Oh my gosh. Okay, and I think I have one more that she sent. Yes. This one. This is 3 of her black and whites. Oh, wow. So much in them, Tamara. I swear, girl, you need to really have a show. And put them together. do a show. I've heard of so many artists in Los Angeles who've lost everything because, and they were getting ready for shows and they're all gone. And it just breaks my heart. I'm so glad that we have these here and they're out on YouTube and for people to always see. But man, people need to see these in person and up close and personal. And I just love, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that middle one, you're right. That middle one is so wonderful. Absolutely just breathtaking. Thank you, Tamara. Thank you so much. Okay, your friend Larry across, and I'm just irritated with it. Okay, it's off again. Okay, buffering. Sorry, got it fixed. I don't know. Backblaze turned itself on. So Larry has a couple of Christmas cards for us that he's done that are so sweet and so beautiful. I tell you, if you got one of these Christmas cards, they would be just fun. Yeah, the ice skaters. Those so cute. And Feliz Navidad. Your handwriting is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so he has those two. And then he has this one. And I have to... this is, oh, hold it. Nope. I think, yes. And this is a loose painting of his motorcycle wistfully cruising in a sunny canyon. Very cool. Let me get myself off up here. On his motorcycle, his Beamer. Yes. Good job, Larry. Your watercolor it's just so much fun to see what you're doing. And with the next pieces, you guys, you got to see these. Okay, let me put these. These are, and as he says, an experiment for fun, micro painting grommets and in an Altoid tin. I don't know. And they're very fun, but some practice is in order. So look at, how big an Altoid tin. I had to do these in full size so that you could see. He's using the tin as a palette, and then he's painting. Are they on? They're on watercolor paper. So. Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Layla, Yolanda she's crazy good at doing the calls, and Layla's family is crazy football fanatics. Lachlan got a football launcher for his Christmas present. I've spent many a morning down there throwing footballs for him when he was little, 5 o'clock in the morning. But anyway, back to Larry's artwork. This is a beautiful one of the river. I bet you this is down by your property, down by St. Helens. I'm sure down by Mount St. Helens, I bet. And then next one I have is this one. Look at this dancer. Just so delicate. Larry, that is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Just amazing. Your brush strokes and your lines are just, oh my gosh, so cool. And then this last one, the little cat. Oh, you guys, I put on my Instagram story today the wild animals that are being rescued by the firemen down there. And then I saw this when Larry pulled this up, when he sent this, just when I was like almost in tears. So wonderful. Layla, how's Penelope? Layla and Lachlan have a new cat. This is wonderful, Larry. I think this is something you should pursue. Keep going with the Altoid tins, and this is just a wonderful little miniature aspect that you could do. I think it's just amazing. Yay. Okay, so let me get this back in the middle, and I'll turn it off for now before I get into the story. And Where did it go? Oh, there it is. I need to put that on a Stream Deck button, but maybe not. Okay, I have 2 stories tonight, and I'm going to start with the one I wasn't going to start with. I'm going to start with the one that's on my desk, and it is called Sewing Stories, and it is about an artist named Harriet Poers. That it's another one of these stories that of someone that's never made it in our history books, that has amazing work. Her work is actually hanging in the Metropolitan Museum of Art in, let me see, where is it? Say it was. It is the story quilt. They are. The colors have faded. Yeah, is in the National Museum of History, National Museum of American History, part of the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C., and the second one is resides in the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston. So she only has 2 pieces that have survived, or that people even know about. But I think when you hear the story, you'll be just amazed that even these have survived. But how good her work, I mean, it's just a story that I think is one of those that needs to be told and needs to be heard and needs to be part of our heritage, because it is. It's called Sewing Stories, and it is Harriet Poers' Journey from Slave to Artist. And I'm trying to get this so that it will show a little better. Let me just change the aspect of that camera to wide, and then the whole book will show. Yeah, there, that's better. And there'll be 2 parts as I'm reading out the story part, and then the little bit of history part. The history says, Harriet Angeline Poers was born into slavery on October 29th, 1837. According to Clark County records, she was one of 5,000 African Americans in bondage in that county alone. See that sweet baby girl lying on a quilt her mama made? What could she be dreaming of? On a plantation near Athens, Georgia, Harriet's mama worked from rise to set, while Harriet slept between the cotton rows. Harriet grew up watching women carding cotton, spinning thread, dyeing and weaving cloth. She learned that wild indigo made blue, and hickory bark made brown, and cherry bark made deep red. She studied strong, stained fingers. Her heart beat to the booming of the loom. Slave women were involved in making textiles for the plantation. After they spun cotton into thread, they dyed it with natural coloring and wove it into cloth on a loom. In the evening, the women gathered together and cut flour sacks and worn cloths into suns and moons and stars, lions, birds, and elephants for appliqued cloth legends of Mother Africa. Harriet listened to their voices hum throughout the quarters late into the night. Little Harriet placed cotton filling in the quilts. She held the pine knot light high. I won't knot off, no ma'am. She was part of a sacred tribe. By a crumbling fireplace in the middle of the night, Harriet learned to sew stories. Some slave women sewed all day for the slaveholders' families. Only at night could they create for themselves. Applique is a technique where cut designs are stitched onto background fabric. The masters frowned on slaves staying up late to sew. Most slaves were forbidden to learn to read or write. They passed on stories verbally and recorded them in cloth. Women sang and sewed by candle or pine knot light in rough log cabins in a section of the plantation called the quarters. On Sundays and holidays, sometimes the master gave permission for a quilting bee. The women lowered wooden frames from cabin rafters. Long-limbed Harriet crawled under those big frames and watched needles dart through cloth like silver dragonflies. She thought, someday I'm gonna sew a magic world. While the mistress of the plantation usually supervised the sewing, at a quilting bee, the slave women could be their own artists, making designs with strips of cloth. For a few daylight hours, they might have felt free. When the women finished sewing, making 2 or 3 quilts in just one day, folks gathered for peach pie and ginger cake, collard greens and barbecue. While they gobbled up the grub, Harriet traced quilted shapes with her fingers. Her mama smiled. "Child, I think it's time you had a needle of your own." "Yes, ma'am." The men were not allowed at the gathering until the quilting was over. Then they were invited for a big meal, followed by a lively dance party. The women raised chickens and grew extra food in small gardens. They cooked in big open fireplaces. Strong-limbed Harriet helped the women sew. Afterwards, she danced at the frolic. Horsehair fiddles, cheesebox tambourines, and sheep-bone. If Armstead Powers could capture Harriet beneath a quilt, he could claim a hug and a kiss. Harriet slowed her pace just a little bit. Sure enough, Armstead caught her with a story. Young ladies gathered at the quilting bees as much to dance and flirt as to sew. They danced the turkey trot and the Mary Jane. Buckets, pans, and grass reeds were also used as musical instruments. Harriet and Armstead jumped the broom together when Harriet was just 18. Soon Harriet became a mama. She named her pretty baby Amanda. "Pray we stay together and don't get sold away," she said. Harriet wrapped Amanda in a quilt she made and held her tight as the Civil War cannons fired. When Harriet and Armstead decided to marry in 1855, they had to get permission from the slaveholder. Part of the ceremony was jumping over a broomstick. In 1861, a bloody war to end slavery. The army from the north marched into Athens. The Union soldiers told the slaves, "You're free! Hallelujah, free at last," Harriet cried. But trouble didn't end with the war. Oh no. Poverty raced through Georgia. How would Harriet feed her family? Amanda, Alonzo, Nancy, Lizzie, and baby Marshall. 5 hungry faces, 10 bare feet. "Show me the way," Harriet prayed. The Emancipation Proclamation declared the slaves free on New Year's Day, 1863, but it could not be enforced in areas still under rebellion. In Georgia, slaves were not freed until Union General Sherman's army invaded in 1864. Slaves in Athens were most likely emancipated sometime after the fall of Atlanta in September 1864. In Athens, the aftermath of the war was worse than the war itself. Food, medicine, and clothing were scarce. Smallpox ravaged the town. Harriet took up her needle, turning snips of calico and an old pair of dungarees into cloth, stories that warmed her children and lifted her from hard times for a while. "You gotta take what you've been given and make something out of it," she said. In addition to making quilts, Harriet may have earned extra money by sewing clothes. Armstead earned very little as a farmhand. Harriet saved every extra nickel. The family bought a little farm, a horse, a plow, and some seed. Now plates of catfish steamed on the table, fat vegetables ripened on the vine. The children grew like the cotton Armstead planted. Cotton mills popped up all over Georgia, and folks celebrated good times. Let's here for just a second. Okay, it is not on, so it keeps flipping on to me doing that. Sometimes in the 1880s, Harriet and Armstead bought 4 acres near Sandy Creek outside of Atlanta. The family fished and grew vegetables and profitable cotton. Cotton mills purchased cotton from local farmers like Armstead. Athens announced its own party. The Cotton Fair folks were abuzz about the craft exhibit. Who would win best in show? I reckon the good Lord gave me a skill, Harriet said, and she snipped calico as pink as watermelon. She cut strips of cloth as green as key limes. Harriet sewed stories of Cain and Abel, Jacob and Jesus too, familiar stories that formed pictures in her mind. She stitched Bible folks in scenes where polka dot camels and elephants and ostriches lived together in a fabric land. Harriet had grown up hearing Bible stories from the chairbacker, a slave who proclaimed he'd been called to preach. She might have sat in the back of the slaveholders' church. She was fascinated by circus animals. The Northeast Georgia Fair in 1886, called the Cotton Fair, included a Wild West show, several weddings, and a circus. Folks entering the craft exhibit competed for best in show, but Harriet was not reported as the winner. Folks at the Cotton Fair gathered around Harriet's quilt. A young woman, Jenny Smith, offered to buy it. How could Harriet part with a piece of her heart? No, ma'am, not for any price. Harriet hung her quilt in the corner of the exhibit tent, next to seed displays, jars of pickles, and mounds of potatoes. Jenny Smith, an art teacher, recognized it as a rare work of art. Dark days came a-knockin'. When the price of cotton fell, Harriet sent word. Would Miss Smith still like the quilt? Oh, yes! Harriet climbed into an ox cart, and as Armstead drove her into town, she cradled that quilt like a child. Harriet told Miss Smith, "You can have it for $10. I only have 5 to give, Miss Smith replied. I reckon that'll do, owing to the hardness of the times. Then Harriet explained each story sewn within the squares, like the lyrics of a song spun into cloth. She climbed back in that ox cart, and as Armstead drove away, her lap felt as empty as her heart. Miss Smith wrote down Harriet's descriptions of the 11 panels in her creation. It is my intention, Miss Smith wrote, to exhibit this quilt in the colored building at the Cotton States Exposition in Atlanta. Now, folks were a-talkin'. Could Harriet make another quilt? Oh, yes. She pieced together Bible stories and tales of real events in the sky, a meteor shower, bright lights burning in the night. It was snow and fire, Harriet said. On a day called Black Friday, the sky grew dark as midnight and all the cows and roosters went to bed. Harriet delivered the quilt to some ladies in Atlanta, slipping their dollar bills into her apron pocket. Her heart was heavy. Another beloved soul away. Still, it pleased her to hear the women's praise. So, some Atlanta University faculty wives saw the first quilt at the exposition and commissioned the second quilt as a gift for the vice president of the board. This time, Harriet mixed Bible stories with local tales and legends she'd grown up hearing. The meteor shower of 1833 and Black Friday of 1780, when a combination of smoke from forest fires, a thick fog, and cloud cover caused an unusual darkening of the sky. We don't know how much Harriet earned for the second quilt, but it attracted a lot of attention. In 1902, Atlanta University held a conference called the Negro Artisan, and Harriet's quilt may have inspired the event. Harriet never had much money. She didn't own much property. It was a struggle to get by. Her cloth stories lifted her to another world where suns and moons, animals and angels danced together across a fabric sky. One day shall I reach heaven, and one day shall I fly. Harriet Poers died of pneumonia on January 1st, 1910. Now everyone can see her world as she did, for her works hangs in 2 fine museums and is celebrated worldwide. I love this picture of her. She did. Now, what's amazing about this is the author's note says, Harriet Poers lived most of her life in poverty. Today, her story quilts are priceless treasures. The first story quilt, the Bible quilt, resides in the National Museum of American History, part of the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C. Yolanda, you can go see this. The second pictorial quilt resides at the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston. Caroline, this is up your alley, girl. No other quilts by Harriet are known to exist, although recent scholarship indicates she may have made at least 5. She made at least 5. Harriet knew her quilts needed to be explained, and Jenny Smith had the foresight to record her words. A handwritten essay filled with Harriet's cloth stories and the circumstances of Jenny and Harriet's meeting was preserved with the first story quilt. Jenny invited Harriet to visit her child anytime, and apparently Harriet did on several occasions. We don't know who recorded the descriptions of the second story quilt. Although she never traveled outside of Georgia and never went to a formal school, Harriet's artistic vision was vast. Jenny likened her style to that of the Impressionists. I regret exceedingly that it is impossible to describe the gorgeous coloring of the work. She wrote, Harriet grew up surrounded by applique artisans and perpetuated this quilt-making technique into adulthood. Although the colors have faded, Harriet's art is an invitation into her thoughts, her life, and her dreams. Her story quilts lift us high. And this is the only known photograph of her. Harriet was photographed sometime in 1896 or 1897 at the professional studio of Charles F. McDaniel in Athens, Georgia, wearing an apron decorated with appliqued symbols of a cross and the sun. This photograph may have been taken when her quilt was exhibited. It's the only known photograph of Harriet, although another copy of it appeared in the collection of the Lee County Historical Society in Iowa. And here's the story of the 2 quilts. So the description that she left behind of each panel, Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, naming the animals and listening to the whispers of the serpent. A continuation of paradise. Eve has given birth to a son who has made a pet of a fowl. The bird of paradise is in the bottom right corner. Satan amidst the 7 stars. The devil appears jaunty. This was her description. Cain is slaying his brother Abel. Abel is being a shepherd, is accompanied by sheep. Cain going into the land of Nod. There are bears, leopards, elks, a kangaroo hog, and a calico lion in the center. A kangaroo hog with a white tooth sticking from its lower lip. Jacob lying on the ground with an angel. I wonder if I can make this so that you guys can see this better. Hang on. Let me try something. Change this to narrow. Yay. Okay, go back. So you can see that better. There. The baptism of Christ, the crucifixion, Judas and the 30 pieces of silver, the Last Supper, and Joseph, Mary, and the infant Jesus. Those are all in her panels there. And here's her explanation of the second story quilt. This one has 15 panels in it. Oh my gosh. So this is the one that's in Washington, D.C., Yolanda. And this is the one that's in Boston, Caroline. And that is this book, Sewing Stories, The Journey from Slave to Artist. It is by Barbara Herkert and illustrated by Vanessa Brantley Newton, who we've seen at some other things. Barbara Herkert now lives up here on the Olympic Peninsula. She spends a big time near Bend, but she also now lives on the Olympic Peninsula. It says she lives on the Oregon coast, but I just saw her updated website, and she lives on the Olympic Peninsula someplace out here by me. So cool. What an amazing story. These are the kind our schools. Yes. Yay. Pause back. Don't you dare. It did it again. It started to go on. Back, Blaze, stop this. I am going to say schedule only when I click back up now. There we go. Okay. All right. There we go. Boom. There we go. Okay. That's that one. I'm glad you like it, Yolanda and Caroline. Yes, this is such a good book. Such an amazingly good book. Let me switch back to here. Now, we are at 6:46. It's a restart timer. It is on a restart timer. I turned that off. I set it to click on go only when I want to go on, and it keeps fiddling with me. So, anyway, the other book, let me pull it up, is, I'm thinking, if I remember right, let me just double check, because it's a pretty amazing book. All right, I'll read it. It goes with this. Another book about sewing. This one is called The Secret Pocket, and it is by Peggy Janicki and illustrated by Carolyn Victor, both of whom are First Nation members of the Coast Salish ancestors, which is north of us in British Columbia. This is a First Nation story of Indigenous families and what happened during that time. It's another one of those books that is a true story based on this children off to things. You have to be up at 5. Oh my gosh. AI. Thank you for being with us. Yes, Caroline, thanks for being here. All right, so I'm going to do this one because it is just, I'll get rolling on it. And if you guys have to go, I know this is a little longer than normal, but this is a beautiful book called The Secret Pocket. And it went with my theme on the sewing and the stories that are told in that way and how much that handcrafting is so important for us. The Secret Pocket. And I apologize right off the bat for my pronunciation of First Nation names. These are very difficult and even more difficult to get the correct and find the correct pronunciation because the pronunciation helpers online are not very good with Indigenous languages. Utsu was kind and gentle. We spent many days at her house. Utsu and Utsian had a beautiful smokehouse next to our lake, where meat and fish were smoked and dried for the winter. There was also a special rack for berries and matlas. The fire had to be tended when the racks were filled, so Utsu spent a lot of time there. She was not very big and was getting older. Utsu had a pad by the fire to rest on with pillows to pile behind her back. She let me sit with her and just daydream. We napped together, too. Best of all were her hugs and how she made me feel loved. It was a treat to get a sip of tea sweetened with sugar because at our house, tea wasn't for kids. That all changed at the end of summer. My family was busy fishing at our lake. Ulu glowed with concentration while cutting the fish. I was 4 years old, and I was helping too, which means I was playing with my brothers and sisters on the sunny, hot beach close by. That way our mothers, aunties, and grandmothers could see us. A large, fancy black car drove in. The driver was a priest, and the passenger was a nun. They came over to Ulu and Uba. My sister looked at me and exclaimed, The sister looked at me and exclaimed, "Oh, Mary's perfect for our school." Soon after, I was sent to the Lijak residential school, along with my sister Aggie and my brother James. It was far, far away from home. We had to live and sleep at the school. Kindergarten began at 5 years old. I did not have a class because I was too young. I was allowed only to wander the hallways during class time. The other children would call me Baby McKinnon, come visit us, and I would go from class to class. I was homesick for Ulu and Uba and Utsu and Utsian every day. It must have been even worse for my brother James. He was on the boys' side of the school, so we never saw him. I would sneak glances at the boys' side even though we were not allowed to look. I was always hungry and cold at Lijak. When I was small, it was extra hard. I remember the older girls helping me. Betsy helped me. I cried because my stomach hurt from not having enough food. Betsy taught me how to eat toothpaste so the pain would go away. She was my hero, always. All of us were hungry and cold all the time. We would be given mush for breakfast, that's cooked oatmeal. Soup at lunch was a different color depending on the season. Gray soup in the wintertime and colorful soup in the fall. Fall was when the gardens had fresh vegetables to harvest. Dinner sometimes had meat, but it was often rotten. The sisters were our teachers, and they were very strict, often cruel, and had no sense of humor. One time, my friend and I snuck down the hallway to see where they went when they left the classroom. Our eyes went wide with surprise when we peeked in the door. It was a bathroom. We clapped our hands over our mouths and scurried quickly away back to safety. We giggled for days. Every year, we spent fall, winter, and spring, and the beginning of summer at Lijak. I cannot count the number of days I looked out onto Fraser Lake and my heartbreaking wonder what Ulu and Uba and Utsu and Utsian were doing. I was always homesick. When we were home, we dreaded the end of summer because it meant that soon the gravel truck would drive into our community and take us back to Lijak. When I got older, I helped Ulu at home more and more. She taught me how to mend clothing and sew moccasins together. We worked with small beads, and I always kept trying to match her skill. At bath time, I collected water from our lake and heated it on the wood stove. We poured the hot water into large tubs to put in our bedroom. I was in charge of the little ones, and I also watched for any visitors. Uba often sent my sister and me to fetch our horses from the distant pasture and get them ready. When we were at home, we helped all the time, so I wondered how Ulu and Uba managed the rest of the year without us. I remember one winter before the break when my heart overflowed with happiness. Children were picked up by their families to spend the holiday at home. Some families couldn't afford to travel to Lijak because they didn't have enough time or money or supplies. That meant those children stayed at school. And for the break, I was getting very worried that my sister and brother and I would not be going home. Days passed and no Uba. I knew it was easily a 12-hour journey, which I remember gazing out the window after a day spent vigorously scrubbing the floors for the pre-holiday cleaning, and suddenly, faintly, I heard sleigh bells. Uba's horses and sleigh came into view, and I was over the moon with joy. Whenever I hear the song Winter Wonderland, I remember the smell of lemon oil, the distant sleigh bells jingling on the horses coming over the snow, the cold of the winter, and my overwhelming feel of relief, love, and happiness. I was going home. Uba was chief. He would visit us at Lijak to see how we were doing. The priest and the nuns would only let him come if the visits were planned ahead of time. They would feed us good food in the days before he arrived, so Uba would think we were being taken care of. The sisters would be cruel after his visit, making sure any extra food was taken away. We would go back to not having enough to eat. Also, they would call me Chiefy to make fun of me. It never hurt my feelings, though, because I loved Uba. I was proud of him. All the movements at residential school were watched. In class, no elbows were allowed on desks. In the hallways and church, no talking was allowed. The sisters and fathers were always watching and always ready to hit us with a leather strap. One day I saw a classmate secretly holding something in a cup in her hand. I had questions, but I didn't ask what it was until the end of the day. That's when I learned that she had snuck into the kitchen, taken a tablespoon of peanut butter, and hid it in her hand all day. We found our ways to survive. We made plans, especially for the top secret missions to the kitchens. We discovered that many of us could sneak food out. The hard part was moving under watchful eyes and not getting spotted. So when we saw the rags in the rag box, we had a genius idea. We sewed secret pockets into our petticoats to hide the food we took. We secretly gathered all the materials, the rags, the thread, the needles. We hid them until nighttime and then sewed our secret pockets in the dim light of our dormitory. It was easy work because my ulu aunties and utsu were master sewers, beaters, and kiskwut makers. They had taught us. Hearts burst with pride when we walked past the sisters with our... There it is. Come back. We sewed more pockets. We took more food, apples, carrots, pieces of bread. We fed the small hungry girls and ourselves. We found our ways and filled our pockets with what we needed to carry on. We filled our pockets with so much more than food. We filled them with our future. Now, as a great-grandmother, I look back at this time and see what sweet little geniuses we were. In the full face of genocide and cruelty, we secured our family's path for generations to come. We sewed our survival into every stitch. We come from a strong line of artists and geniuses, so we stitch with easy skill. I continued my kiskwut making, and my best friend Josephine taught me Salish weaving. Between the two, I was able to care for my family and to conjure pure magic. We were geniuses. We are geniuses. We will always be geniuses. And the author's note says, like many residential school survivors, my mother, Mary, never spoke about her experiences until they were very late in life. She was recovering from a broken hip when my brother Jim and I went to visit her, and she shared the story of the secret pocket with us. With her permission, I shared it with my students of all ages and other teachers. It was during one of these lessons that a staff at the University of the Fraser Valley asked if they could gift the story to the Indigenous graduates. With more of my mother's blessings, specifically, well, they gotta know, a secret pocket was sewn into the stole each graduate wore with their gown. The pocket held a copy of my mother's story. Elder Dr. Elizabeth Phillips gave the pocket the Halkakum's name I can't even say that. On June 21st, 2019, UFV hosted an honoring ceremony to thank Dr. Phillips and my mother. Sadly and happily, I stood in for her because she had passed away at that time. UFV continues to gift the secret pocket to its Indigenous graduates. It was with great pride that I saw my daughter, Chantel, and my son, Anthony, receive graduation stoles with their grandmother's stories in the secret pocket. What a joy. Since then, my husband, Rick Joe, who is also a teacher, and I have brought the secret pockets to our 12th grade graduates at Chilliwack Senior Secondary School and Mission School District. I think that is just the coolest way to pass on a heritage. That's so amazing. Come on, back up, back. Where's there? There we go. And there. So, all right, you guys. That is the end of Story and Art for tonight. It's been a couple of days. Oops, cancel. Of things going on around here. I didn't tell you guys. So, Bob's upstairs with a big boot on his foot because we had this kind of a thing in front of the sink as a mat that was a squishy kind of mat, and then it had fabric on top of it. Well, the edge became between the fabric and the mat became frayed, and he stubbed his bare foot on it. Well, apparently they used a metal wire filament thread in the making of it, and a piece broke off and went in his toe, or in the bottom of his foot. He thought he got it out. About a week later, he's limping. He couldn't get it out. I, by miracle, got it out, found it. I mean, it was like I had to put the I had to put the magnifying glass on the bottom of his foot, dig it out with a needle, and then I by just chance saw this glint, got it and grabbed it and pulled out this 1/4-inch piece of fine wire filament that had been stuck straight into his foot. He soaked it, all this kind of stuff. It was sore the next day. By yesterday morning, his foot was completely swollen and all big puffy and very throbbing. So he had to go to urgent care yesterday morning and get antibiotics. And it was x-rayed and made sure that there weren't any other pieces in there. There weren't. I'd gotten it out. But the infection had gone and kind of nasty. So so he's upstairs. So I've been cooking. Yeah, Layla, don't fall over. I should have warned you before I said that. So I've been cooking. Yeah, because if he stands up, his foot still throbs. So, and they've got him in this boot thing so that he doesn't flex his foot because they don't want it. They'll just send the infection around. So yeah. Anyway, it's been quite the thing. Quite this thing's going on for sure. Anyway, but that's what we've been. But I hope you guys liked that story. I thought it was just another. There's just so many wonderful stories about what and many of these things are being rewritten out of our history as if they didn't happen in some areas and things. And I just think it's really important that we keep it alive, that there are things like this that happened and we make sure it doesn't ever happen again. And we see on how a group of people has gone on to celebrate the tenacity of a people and what they've done to overcome. And I think it's Grandma Goose Killer. Grubhub must deliver. No, Grubhub does not deliver out here. Don't laugh. Okay, so I can't say I really cooked. I mean, Dinty Moore beef stew. I added some steak sauce to that was it. And I did make biscuits. I made biscuits. That was easy. I can bake anything. I can bake that. You could make, I could have made, yeah, I know, Layla, I could have made grilled cheese, but that was I didn't make, yeah, we didn't do that today. I could do that tomorrow. I could make grilled cheese for him tomorrow. Tonight we had some grilled sausages and stuff like that. Oh no, Gretchen cooking. No way. Yes, way I cooked. And I didn't, and he's fine. Although, I know. Excellent story. Cereal doesn't count. Yes, cereal doesn't count. That's what we have. I made breakfast. I did scrambled eggs and and they were good. They were good. Of course, Layla taught me how to make scrambled eggs. She makes her really good with her everything bagel stuff on it. So next step, Gretchen learns to cook. Yeah, so I actually can cook. I just don't enjoy it. I just really don't enjoy it. That's probably why I went out to Studio G this afternoon for a couple hours and just slopped paint around and made backgrounds for things. Oh, where is Julia, child? Exactly. All right, you guys. So that was story time tonight. Sewing stories and secret pockets, two kind of wonderful, heartfelt nonfiction stories. Baking is so much better. Yes, Layla and I like to bake. She's good at it. She's really good at things like that. So anyway, glad to hear that you're doing better, Layla, that you're healthy again, and your Grandpa's going to be just fine. He'll be all those. He's having to sit in Grandnana's chair with his foot lifted up, we have one of the chairs in the living room was my mom's chair, and it's this wonderful recliner. But when Bob was sick with pneumonia last year, for all that time, that's the only place he could sit and he could sleep. So he's been sitting in that chair. So Aldo's all freaked out. Aldo thinks he's sick again and something's wrong. And so he's like circling around the chair and trying to jump up on him and make him feel better and what's going on and stuff like that. So yeah. So Aldo and I have been going for walks. All right. Yep. 100% better. She's all yay. Good. So you guys, everybody's better. Thanks and the art tonight. Thank you guys so much. It's so inspirational. It's so uplifting. It's so great to see all your work and everything that you're doing. And I just absolutely love it. And I hope you kind of like some of the new things I've done. I've got the Ready, Set, Go for the new stuff. And I've got this new kind of background, although I've got it in the wrong place in places. So it pops up when it's not supposed to. I'll get that straightened out. But I'm playing. Anyway, so for now, that's what we've planned. I already have planned what I'm going to read. So I'm ahead of the game, and I'm excited about that. And I've got my videos all scheduled through like March 17th from my on-camera channel. I don't know, what's 2025 doing? I'm rocking and rolling. It was so fun to have you guys all here, and thank you so much for everybody who joined, for Caroline for being here, and Yolanda, and all the bucket fillers for Tamara and Larry and Susan and Layla and Linda and Fatima, and I don't think I missed anybody else that was here. Lupe might be listening on her TV. Sometimes she does that because you can see it large size. And other than that, you guys, thank you so much. So until next time, everybody, hang on. Yep. I'll see you Thursday. But until then, keep looking for the beauty hidden in plain sight. It's all around you. But the first place you'll find it is when you go look in your mirror. And I'll see you Thursday for more stories.
In the heat of the night, we could get lost in all the lights and sounds. Feeling alright, we won't go home, we will just stay here downtown. There's not just stars on
that'll be funny.
We could be shameless, famous, running cool, with a love that leaves us weightless. Ooh, drop dead gorgeous, wow. Ooh, you got me feeling starstruck too. We could be famous. You want to be famous. We could be famous. Come and be famous. You blow my mind, looking like a model, better than the usual. Yeah, you don't even try, not average or typical. I put you on a pedestal. There's not just stars on the boulevard, they're in the light in your eyes. Oh, we don't need no black cards, I just need you by my side. We could be shameless, famous, running cool, with a love that leaves us weightless. Ooh, drop dead gorgeous, wow. Ooh, you got me feeling starstruck too.
Yeah.
We could be famous. You want to be famous. We could be famous. Come and be famous. We could be famous. You want to be famous.
Thanks, Layla. Love you too, kiddo.
Famous. Come and be famous.
This is really chair dancing. Put myself in that chair and